What type of vessel are you? How are you serving God? How are you being useful in the kingdom? If Christ were to take your spiritual temperature and look at your usefulness to the kingdom, would he say that you are more on the hot side, which is good? Or would he say that you're more on the cold side, which is also good? Or would he say that you're in the middle, you lukewarm, which is not good? Qui côté température spirituelle ou est? Est-ce que les chaud? Que bon Dieu dit oui, son bon bagay. Est-ce que température spirituelle ou frette? Jean comme ça dit non, frette son bon bagay que lié parce que yon bagay yon de l'eau qui frette, li utile. Mais ça qui pas utile, c'est ça qui tiède là. Ça qui tiède là, li pas utile. What kind of vessel are you? Can I give you my story? A lot of people see Pastor Melky starting Christ City, but where did this guy come from? Where did this Pastor Melky come from? Where did this guy come from? My journey serving God is a journey of 14 years. 14 years of serving different men of God, of serving different visions. At the very young age, as a teenager, I was serving this church, actually this church in West Palm Beach. And I served for 7 years at that local church. It started with me just being naive. I didn't know nothing about serving God. They just had a need. At the time, they needed a youth president, someone to lead the youth. And I was scared. I said, okay, I'll do it. And that started a period of 7 years where I was serving God. While I was serving, there's something that started to build inside of me, which is called zeal. Zeal is when you're zealous for God, there becomes a fire for the things of God. So for the first 7 years, I was there. From there was a period of another 7 years where I was somewhere else at another church in Miami. And for that second 7-year period, I was there serving. I was there giving it my all. Guys, let me tell you, me and my wife, we gave it everything we had. Our heart, our sweat, our blood was there. There was no half-stepping. We gave it 110%. But throughout this 14-year period, it was an increase in the amount of fire. It was increase in the amount of zeal that we felt for God. We felt like for all that God did for us, we had to serve him one way or the other. We had to be hot or cold. We could not be just in the middle. We could not be lukewarm. We had to choose either hot or cold. We had to be useful somewhere, somehow. And God is saying to the church right now, are you hot or cold? Pick a side. But one thing he does not want the lukewarmness. He wants us to choose a side and to serve one way or the other. I can't tell you that I was perfect during that 14-year period. I can't say that I was perfect. But God, day by day, he would build me up. Day by day, he would put his fire. Day by day, he would put his zeal inside of me. And I was growing in maturity. And I was growing. And so I served different people's visions. I served different people's missions until it was time. And God says, Melky, the time is now. The season is now. And I'm like, well, Lord, I still need to finish. I'm not done over here. I'm still serving. I'm still working. I'm comfortable over here. And God had to pull me out. I have chosen you for this time, in this generation, in this city, in order to testify to the world. But it was the zeal of God. It was the fire of God that got me to this point. And that's what God is saying to this church today. in order for this to be what God wants it to be, we have to make a decision that we will no longer be lukewarm and that we will be on fire. We will have the zeal of God. And I know a lot of us, one of the reasons why we're not zealous, it's because of church hurt. A lot of us, one of the reasons why we're not zealous, a lot of us, one of the reasons why we're lukewarm, it's because of church hurt. But let me tell you something about church hurt. Let's get this out there. If you were hurt by the church, really, you weren't hurt by the church. Fundamentally, you were hurt by the people of the church. You see the difference? It's not the church that hurt you. It was the people in the church. It was a sister. It was a brother. It was someone in the church that hurt you. We say it's church hurt, but really, it is the people of the church that hurt you. And since that time, you've been a little bit lukewarm. Since that time, you've stopped serving a little bit. M'pa retourner dans bagay l'église encore parce que il y a trop hypocrite l'église. Et puis depuis là ça ou vinn mettre tête dans petit coin ou mettre tête dans petit boîte. Et pour vinn timide la caille bon Dieu. Et pour vinn jonyer à la caille bon Dieu. Can I help you about church hurt? Let me say this about church hurt. If you understand this, you will never be hurt by the church again, or you'll never be hurt by people of the church again. When you come to a church, every time you come to a church, listen to this. You are coming to a hospital. There's no perfect people in here. When you go to a hospital, do you expect that everyone's going to be healthy? When you go to a hospital, you expect that there's going to be some sick people up in there. And it's the same thing here when it comes to church. Whenever you step foot inside of a church, understand that you're going to a hospital for the sick. There are people who are hypocrites. There are people who are spiritually hurting. There are people who need deliverance. There are people who lie. There are people who are depressed. There are people who are discouraged. Don't come into a place and think that anyone has it together. People will play this church game and they pretend like no one has it all together. And sometimes at a hospital, even the nurses and the doctors will be sick. Can I say that again? Sometimes at a hospital, even the doctor or the nurses will be sick. Even the administrative staff of the hospital, they're not immune to it. They can be sick too. What I'm trying to say is that when you come to a church, from the pulpit up to the pews, you have to understand we all need God. We all here for the same reason. We all need the doctor, which is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So when you come, don't have your expectations thinking that there's no one, thinking that someone that's perfect, thinking that someone is God. Come with the expectations that we're all coming. And God will put a leader in front of you to guide you and to point you to the truth. I'm not the truth, but I can point you to the truth. And so when we mess that up and we think that the people working at the hospital, they can't get sick, you're setting yourself up for church hurt. Because somewhere along, the leader will make a mistake. And if you saw him or her as God, you're going to be hurt. If you saw this person as God, you're going to be hurt. And then you may start sliding your way to being lukewarm. But it was your wrong expectations that set you up for the hurt. So understand, when you come to a church, this is a hospital. We're all hurting. We're all here for the doctor, which is Jesus Christ. Does that make sense, everyone?